First things first, how are you?
Good.
Very well.
Yeah.
Hot. It's lovely. It's glorious out there.
It's fantastic. Yeah. Finally.
Yeah, finally. I was waiting for this. Let's start with this. Mario, what was your first thought when you heard Pete sing for the first time?
My first thought, that's 15, 16 years ago.
Yeah, a long time ago.
It's a long time ago. When I was introduced by a mutual friend, to go out and fly out to Newcastle to rehearse with Peter Shoulder. And at that time, I've never heard any music of Pete. I just got into Newcastle, and then I met him, and we got into a rehearsal room, and he introduced his first song. We've never played together, and I was amazed because he was back then. He was still 19, I think.
19, yeah.
He was 19. I was a bit older, and I was just like, "Whoa, this is amazing. This sounds great." So yeah, and up till today, I'm still. It's unbelievable, and I'm really fortunate to can make music with someone like him.
And now you have made music in the past together, but when this project came around, Pete, do you remember that conversation you had with Mario about joining?
Yeah. We were texting about just how you're doing and what you're up to and stuff. And then Mario said, "Oh, I'm working on this. I've got this project with my friend Caesar from Golden Earring," and he said, "We're looking for a singer." And I thought about you. Would you be up for maybe singing on a couple of songs? I was like, "Yeah, great. Any chance to kind of make music with Mario again?" And I thought, "Yeah, of course." So I spoke to him on the phone, and he said, we've been in the studio and recorded a few. It was covers at the time, wasn't it? Like cover songs.
Yeah.
And he said, it's quite garagey. It's cool. It's bluesy. Just throw some vocals on. So he sent it over, and I loved the sound of it straight away. And yeah, just put some vocals on at my place and sent it back. And then it was like, right, get yourself over and make some music,
What was your impression? Because obviously you knew Mario and you got to know Caesar. What was your impression of what the drum sound or the rhythm sound for the band would be?
Well, I knew it was going to be amazing anyway with just Mario, but then with Caesar in the mix as well, I was thinking, oh God, this is going to be interesting. And I'd never played interested. Yeah, emphasis on the word interesting. Yeah. Because I'd never played with two drummers before. I thought, Christ, what's the sound check going to be like? It's like, but it was great, because it was really interesting as well, because I wasn't, the way they play is, I was just expecting them to just be playing the same thing, it just makes it sound more powerful, but they don't. They split up the parts of the drum thing. So Mario will do one thing and then Caesar will do something completely different, and it just it just builds this kind of huge foundation, rather than just bashing away on the same
Sometimes
thing.
You do, just bashing.
Yeah.
But that's when he forgets.
So it was like I was interested to see how it would work and excited, and it's really cool. It's really cool in the studio as well, because they set up right next to each other, and it's the mics are capturing it all, and yeah, it's great.
And then Mario, maybe you can explain this to me a little bit better, because I'm not musically, technically savvy enough.
Maybe Pete can.
well, maybe you can, yeah. But I know the Grateful Dead had two drummers, right. And I know the Allman Brothers had two drummers.
Right,
and I did read Bill Kreutzmann's autobiography from the Grateful Dead, and he told me, I think the other drummer was Mickey Hart.
Yeah, true.
And that there was a very healthy competition going on between those two drummers in what they wanted to. So is that true for this situation as well?
Totally not. it's quite the opposite, actually. Okay. Yeah, it is funny. It's playing with two drummers. It's something you have to learn, and it's something that not everyone can do it. Because I've done it, of course. I mean, through the years you play with some drummers together. And especially in a band form, where I still think the most important thing is to serve the song. itself. And a lot of times if you play with drummers, you get like, okay, you start playing, but then it becomes a competition. Sort of like becomes like really like, look what I can do. Oh yeah, well. But the Caesar, he's one of the guys where I can play with, and he can play something, I can adapt, and the same thing with him. And it's just like, it's not like a competition, but it's playing together. It's like he's like having two guitar players, and they play together, which is always a big case. No, but it's like that, and you play together. And sometimes he does a bit more, and sometimes, that's the whole thing for me. It's like, it's not about doing more. It's just like, again, serving the song, serving the band, how it looks, how it sounds together. And it sounds different with two drummers. If we would do it with one drummer, it was a normal trio or whatever, and it just sounds like it's sloper. And as you said, like Allman Brothers, like these days, you have new bands like the OCs, or like King Gizzard and the Lizard.
Right.
They have two drummers as well. And they're not in the way either. It's just like playing. And people sometimes say like, but why? Why two drummers? Isn't one enough? Maybe. I don't know.
And I did ask Fabio, kind of more jokingly, but is it difficult to kind of get your guitar sound above all those drums? And then maybe a similar question.
Yeah, that's because he's so tall.
but maybe a similar question, and this probably has more to do with production than anything, but as a vocalist, to kind of fit within that very, very full sound of the drums, is that a challenge, or is that just...
It's a challenge not to kind of, because your first instinct as a singer when you're on a stage which is loud is to shout, is to sing, over-sing, which then your voice won't last very long. So I've got to kind of mentally kind of trick myself to just pretend everything's really quiet and stuff. But it's not too bad really. It's actually all right. I've played. Yeah, no, it's fine really.
Okay. I think this band is volume-wise it's lower than Triggerfinger.
Okay.
Yeah. I can say that. This is absolutely.
Sorry, I'm not even playing a Triggerfinger. I'm thinking about my other bands. It's kind of it's not bad at all, really.
No.
Okay. How would you? Because let me ask differently. What were the first sessions like when you got together and started thinking about writing songs, or maybe some sketches were already done? But those first sessions with the four.
Yeah, it was cool. We sort of went into this really. This cool rehearsal place where I forget the name of it. What is it?
Was it Patrick's?
Yeah, Patrick's.
Yeah. I don't know. What's his name again? Roadhouse? No, something like that. Road Farm, Roadhouse.
Blues.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's really nice. And we set up in there, and Mario. We set up mics, didn't we? So we recorded the whole thing, and we kind of went through a few of the songs that we'd that I'd put vocals on. They were covers at the time, and it was just like, well, one of us would play a riff that we had, and it was. And I'd start playing a riff, Mario would go, oh, that's good, and then we'd go and listen to it, and then we'd go, oh, well, and then Fabio would say, well, I've got this bit, and then we would and we were recording the whole time, so it was straight away. I mean, we actually came up with a basis of like a few songs just from that first couple of days, and then Mario took the stuff back to his house and his studio, and he kind of fiddled with it, and then he would send it back, and it was like, oh my god, there's about 3 or 4 almost finished songs here. So it was kind of straight off the bat we were coming up with stuff.
Well, let's jump into one song in particular. I'm Gonna Getcha, which is the opening track. Was this one of the initial ones of the?
No, that came later. That one. Yeah.
Because in this one. In the outro, you can hear everybody you can hear the joy in that you were playing. Am I right? Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah. Absolutely. With this band, we play a bit of music and then we just laugh, to be honest. Laugh, drink and eat.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. That's the next title for the album.
Laugh, drink and eat.
Laugh, drink and eat,
And it's funny because we were talking the other day about bands that sound quite joyful. Their music is quite happy and joyful, but maybe behind the scenes, they're actually not really that happy, and they're not having that much fun. And then the bands that sound really heavy and dark are like
having the most fun out of it.
we're just crying with laughter the whole time. So it's nice to get that in at the end of the song.
But for all four of you, and because you have had musical careers up until now, so I can feel that it's very liberating in a way. You have no expectations, or maybe I'm wrong, but it feels like you don't really have any expectations. You can make music.
You always have expectations, I think, because you're making music, you make an album, and you hope it's going to go well, of course. But I think what's in this band is just, and I had it, I still have it in Triggerfinger as well. It's just what the biggest deal of it is, making the music what you like. And if you can do this, then I think you're the happiest and the luckiest man in the world. And if you can put it on an album and it comes out on an album, you're even more happy. So why not being happy if it's out there? And I think it's in every situation you do, it's always again and again. It's always the same thing that happens again. You make it, it makes me happy, and especially it makes me happy. So yeah.
Is that joy? Because I can imagine, obviously, everyone who starts music does it for a sense of joy or something that makes them feel a certain way.
I hope so.
And, at least you hope so. But then when it becomes your livelihood, there's this other element of it to it. Because like you say, you do have a certain... You want it to do well, in a sense, not just for commercial games, but you need to put some food on the table.
Yeah. True.
And then you need to do these kind of things, interviews with people like me. So all that extra stuff. As your career progresses, is that more easy or more difficult to deal with, especially in the position where you're in now?
I think it's always been easy.
Okay.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, your relationship to your music can change, but I think if you if you don't lose sight of why you started doing it in the first place, and your love of music and the beauty of being able to create something, I think that kind of stops you losing sight of that and kind of getting too lost in the other side of things.
Right.
And I think music works in different ways. Music works in ways of happiness, works in ways when you're not feeling well. It can be an emotional roller coaster, which I think it's while you're creating it, when it comes out, it's all like on the same roller coaster, and it helps you. And by the end of it, the only thing you can do is be happy with it, because it helped you and it's there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, especially for somebody who isn't a musician, who hasn't experienced kind of being on stage and that kind of stuff. Well, let's take being on stage. Did that come naturally then? Because I always wondered that about performers, that even though they're shy, they or can be shy at times, they don't hesitate to go on stage. So for you, was that always natural to be in front of people in a way?
Not really.
No.
Not for me, no.
Not for me either.
Okay.
No. It's I wanted to perform, but the thought of doing it was always terrifying for me. I vividly remember my first gig.
Okay.
I was only young, but it was at a friend's father's birthday party, and I've never been so nervous in my life. Like, I was only going up in front of family and friends, people I knew. So scared. But I came off like feeling, high as a kite, and it's like, that's why you do it.
Yeah, that's why you do it. Yeah, absolutely.
But I love it. I mean, I miss it. I mean, especially this last year and a half, I've really missed it,
Sure.
So it's always a bit of a you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like it's. You would use the word struggle, but it isn't a struggle. But it's something. Sometimes you do gigs, like you feel like you do the biggest gigs in the world, and you just think, "Whoa, fantastic!" And you wouldn't normally be really nervous, and you're totally not nervous. But then you do the smallest gig, and it'd be like 20 people in the room, and you can watch them in the eye, and you'd be like, terrifying. It's like, oh my gosh, why am I so nervous? and it's I don't know why.
Yeah. I actually get less nervous the bigger the gigs are.
The gigs are, yeah, me too.
Because it's almost like, well, I'm meant to be here. Like if it's a small gig, I feel like I'm getting on everybody's nerves. You know, I'm like, oh, here he comes with his guitar. But like in a big gig,
here I am.
Here I am. I've arrived. But like in a big gig, you know, where you're meant to be there, it's cool. And the crowd just look like one kind of
thing.
Like
one thing, little dots or somewhere on the map.
There's no specific face you're looking at.
No. And that's the thing, but that's why we do it as well, because you come, as Pete said, you come off stage and you feel like energized and you feel like you own the world. That's crazy. And why ever did you want to do this? I don't know. I mean, just you played like in my case, you played an instrument and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, we can do a gig. I even didn't know what a gig was. And all of a sudden you're playing in front of people and people tell you like, well, it wasn't too bad, and you're thinking, oh, I want to do this.
Yeah.
Before you know it, I mean, when I started playing, I was 6 years old, so I was, I think, 12, and I knew, I knew what I wanted to do in my life, and I would do everything to get there. I mean, and I'm lucky. I worked.
With that in mind then, because obviously you all had your other things, but how important is this band in this time then? And especially looking towards the fall where you can play again. How important is that to you?
Hugely, yeah. Massively, yeah. I just can't wait to get out and do it.
Yeah.
Because has that been difficult? Because Mario, as you explain it, it's a very integral part of your life, and I'm sure that it is for you, Pete. But so having that kind of taken away for a year, is that difficult to deal with? Do you kind of have withdrawal or something?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it was a shame. I mean, everybody's been through it this last year and a half, but it was a shame for us because we had so much planned, and it was, you know, the band was just starting, and January 2020 we had some fantastic gigs, you know, really great. Our first gigs, and it was just some of the, you know, most fun I've ever had, and the crowd loved it, and it was like we had the whole year, you know, loads of gigs, and it was like, this is going to be great, you know. And then obviously COVID happened, so it's been, you know, it was a shame, and I really missed it. But we were lucky to kind of, when restrictions kind of eased a little bit last year, you know, I came back out and we finished the record and stuff, and we all keep busy with other things as well, you know. So you've got to look at the positives, and we've all, as well as working on Slope, we've all kind of busied ourselves and tried to stop ourselves going crazy, you know, and it's been good for a lot of creative musicians, and you know.
Yeah, and I think in the case of Sloper, it's been really, it helped a little bit in this case, because we could offer ourselves some time, because otherwise we needed to like write an album and just put an album out as quick as possible, probably. And now it gave us time to kind of sit down, write more, and do it like on our time. It's like, okay, finish this and make a good record out of it. So let's do this. So yeah, I think it's. I mean, it is not good, but I mean we kept busy, and we made an album which I'm really happy with. Yeah. So
you've got to just look at the positives, haven't you?
Yeah, I think so too.
Really want to get out and play again. I really missed that.
When did you know then that the album was done? Because now you had a little bit extra time. Is it then more difficult to kind of go, okay, now we're good? And especially at Mario, you've done a lot of production work as well.
Yeah, but it's always been in my life. So if something's finished, there's another thing coming up, or I make sure I have another thing that I can work on. But I think for me, it's like everyone, and especially in the beginning when we had this band, everyone sort of like called it a project. Right. And I've never thought like it's a project. For me, it's just as equal as Triggerfinger is. It's a band. Okay, it's different members than Triggerfinger, but it's also a band. And I love being in a band. I mean, I can't sing, luckily for the world, but I can. I know putting a band together and making music with a band, that's what I like. That's the interaction between the band members. It's the whole thing around it. It's just so important for me because it makes me smile, and I'm really serious about it because I can feel that these times being around with people you like to play with, that's very important. That's half of the business you do in the band and making that music. So yeah, and going out like in October doing this tour. I mean, I'm looking so forward to do that. Getting Ken and Tompi, sound engineer and tour manager, with us on tour and in the van, sitting there and laughing, joking, doing shows as good as we can. In what kind of situations you're in doesn't matter. And that's the whole thing. If every brain cell in that same van is on the same in the same direction, that's the most beautiful part of being in a band.
Final question then, in terms of playing live, because going back to what I said about the Grateful Dead, they used to, I think it was called the Rhythm Devils, where they had sections in their live shows where they would kind of have that drum performance, and then it could be as long as 20-30 minutes maybe. Is that something that you see yourselves doing? And then for Pete, are you going to stick around for that, or do you?
Tommy brings me a beer. That's great. It's my favourite part of the show.
I'll tell you this though. I mean, he's saying now, drinking now, but in the meantime, he was, while with Corona was, and he was for a few times, he was over to work on the album. He stayed at Caesar's place, this man, and he started playing drums. And you know what? He's damn good at it as well. So he'll be in the circle as well.
Slaughter might have 3 drummers now. Fabio will be out there on his own.
A few weeks ago, he bought a drum kit as well. So we're 4 drummers in the band right now.
It's 4 drum kits.
Can we turn into some marching band?
When we're 75, 78.
No, but have you thought about the live shows and kind of what you want to do with that? Because you do have more possibilities, I would suppose, with an extra drummer.
Yeah, but we haven't thought about it.
No, I mean, what's cool, what's exciting now is that now that we've finished the album, we've got a lot more songs to choose from. So that's going to be good to kind of do that and see what we can kind of incorporate in the live show. But yeah, maybe the sky's the limit. We can do what we want.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
We'll wait and see then what you come up with. Gentlemen, thank you so much.
Thank you
very much, man. Cheers.